Have you ever imagined a world with no divisions and complete unity? A world where everyone is singing from the same song sheet, dancing to the same rhythm, and harmonizing in the same key, yet each maintaining their unique voice. This is the concept of a unified world. A unified world is not a monotonous place where everyone is the same, far from it. It's a vibrant symphony of diverse cultures not only coexisting peacefully, but actively engaging with one another. A place where differences are not just tolerated but celebrated. A world where we learn from each other, appreciating the richness that diversity brings. In such a world, political and legal systems are unified or highly cooperative. There's a global consensus on major issues and proactive means to address them. Imagine a world where the leaders of nations sit around the same table, not to wage wars but to wage peace, not to highlight differences but to find common grounds. Economic equality would be the norm, not the exception. The wealth of the world wouldn't be concentrated in the hands of a few, but distributed equitably to address the underlying causes of conflict and division. Poverty would be a concept relegated to history books and everyone would have enough. Education would be a major pillar of this unity. It would focus on global citizenship, empathy, and the interconnectedness of all people. Children would grow up knowing they are part of a global community, that their actions affect others, and that they have a responsibility to make the world a better place. In this unified world, communication would be open and effective, allowing for the free flow of information. Transparency and trust would replace secrecy and suspicion. Disputes would be resolved through nonviolent means, with an emphasis on reconciliation and restorative justice. Discrimination in all its forms would be a thing of the past, replaced by equality and respect for individual rights. And finally, a shared sense of purpose would guide humanity. We would focus on common goals like addressing climate change, exploring space, or curing diseases. We wouldn't just be surviving, we'd be thriving, together. A world where differences are celebrated and inequality is a concept of the past. What a beautiful world that would be. Scene script. Unity is not just a dream, but a possibility built on several pillars. To envision a world in unity, we must first understand its building blocks. Education, for instance, plays a pivotal role. It's not just about the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's about fostering a sense of global citizenship, nurturing empathy, and highlighting the interconnectedness of all people. An education system in a unified world would cultivate minds that respect diversity, understand global challenges, and are equipped to contribute to a shared destiny. But what are we working towards? That brings us to our common goals. In a world with no divisions, humanity would likely focus on shared challenges. Imagine the entire world working together to combat climate change, explore the cosmos, or cure diseases. These collective efforts would not only solve global issues, but also foster a shared sense of purpose and belonging. Now, how do we ensure everyone is on the same page? The answer lies in effective communication. Open channels and the free flow of information are key to maintaining transparency and trust. In a unified world, communication would bridge gaps, break down barriers, and promote understanding on a global scale. Yet we know that disagreements are a part of life. That's where conflict resolution comes into play. In a world of unity, disputes wouldn't lead to violence or lasting resentment. Instead, they would be resolved through dialogue, reconciliation, and restorative justice. Picture a world where every disagreement is an opportunity for growth and deeper understanding. Finally, we arrive at the elimination of discrimination. In a truly unified world, all forms of discrimination would be a thing of the past. Race, religion, gender, or socioeconomic status would not dictate one's opportunities or treatment. Respect for individual rights and equality would be the norm, not the exception. In this world, conflicts are resolved peacefully, and discrimination is just a word in the history books. A world unified is a world transformed. Imagine, if you will, a world in which healthcare and well-being are not privileges, but basic human rights. A world where every person has access to both physical and mental health care, reflecting the inherent value we place on each life. Picture an Earth where sustainability isn't an afterthought but a guiding principle. A world where we prioritize responsible stewardship of our natural resources, preserving the environment for our children and their children after them. Envision a planet where the very concept of war is obsolete. Without national or ideological divisions, we could redirect defense spending towards social programs and development. And finally, imagine a spirit of collaboration that permeates every aspect of our lives, where cooperation overshadows competition in technology, industry, and social development. In this unified world, collaboration overshadows competition, and the well-being of everyone is a priority. The journey towards unity is a journey towards a shared destiny. It is a voyage that demands profound modifications in our consciousness, societies, and the structures we have built over centuries. To achieve this state of global unity, we must first address the elephant in the room, our deeply rooted fears, biases, and selfish tendencies. These are the unseen barriers that hinder our progress towards unity. They are the walls we've built within ourselves, creating divisions and conflicts often based on superficial differences. Tackling these fears and biases requires courage. Courage to recognize our prejudices, to challenge them, and ultimately to change. It requires us to venture out of our comfort zones, to listen and understand perspectives different from our own. And then comes the challenge of overcoming our selfish tendencies. In a world where the mantra has often been survival of the fittest, the shift towards survival of the united is not an easy one. It asks us to share, to give, to put the needs of the collective above our own. It requires us to redefine success, not by what we accumulate for ourselves, but by what we contribute to the world. But as formidable as these challenges may seem, they are not insurmountable. Change is possible, and it begins with each one of us. It starts with a commitment to education, fostering global citizenship, empathy, and the interconnectedness of all people. It continues with creating effective, non-violent means of resolving disputes, focusing on reconciliation and restorative justice. And it culminates in the elimination of all forms of discrimination, affirming equality and respect for individual rights. The path to unity is not easy, but it is a journey worth embarking on, for it leads us towards a shared destiny of peace, prosperity, and harmony. This journey towards unity is not a dream, it's an aspiration, a vision of the world we can create if we dare to journey together.